Hi, good to see you on my mat yoga. And yes, let's work together this morning in our morning yoga practice to connect authentically to our mind and our body. So I'm going to go away and tie my hair back and get myself ready, and I will see you in a moment back on the mat. Bye for now. Now, before we start our asana practice today, I do want us to think about this space on the mat because it can be really beneficial as a point in time in our day or in our week when we actually allow ourselves to concentrate on ourselves. And there's just one question I want you to ask yourselves, and this is the counsellor side of me coming out here, is what do you want your experience in your life to be like going forward? Because if we don't think about what we want, we don't even get anywhere near to thinking about how we might make that happen. So just hold on to that thought. I'd be interested to hear from you. You can obviously direct message me through the links that are available on YouTube or on Instagram or Facebook. So let's get to the front of our mat, and before we start our practice, what's really important is to think about our breath. We breathe all the time automatically, don't have to think about it. Fortunately, it happens. But when we're practicing our yoga and when we want to be more in tune with our body, it's really important to bring our breath to that, to actually have an awareness. So if I breathe normally now, I've got my microphone on, you won't hear very much. But if I think about ujjayi breath, or sometimes it's called ocean breath, where we slightly constrict the throat as we inhale and exhale, you'll hear this. Now, not only is that a very useful technique and breathing to adopt, and you can go and have a look at links for ujjayi breath, but it's really helpful when we're practicing, because then we can hear our breath. Generally speaking, on most of our expansive moves, we will inhale, so when we're coming up and opening, and our inversions or our twists quite frequently are our exhalations. So let's come to the front of the mat, into Tadasana. So we have the weight evenly distributed over all four corners of our feet. And let's just let our arms drop down by our sides. Shook your shoulders up a little bit and then drop them down. Let the shoulders drop back and down, and the arms be long and the fingers point to the floor. Now, I'm not one for yoga statues and rigidness. I really like to think about the flow in between the asanas and movement, because that's really, for me, is the nutritious part of it. But just for this Tadasana and to connect to our breathing, we're just going to develop a stillness. And imagine your spine being building blocks one on top of the other. So this is something really important, because I, unfortunately, over the years have developed a bit of my top building block goes forward. So I have to be very mindful about bringing this back and making sure I stack all the blocks literally one above the other. So let's just come into that. Raise the chin a little. Imagine you got this little, like an apple, the little bit that's on the top that just pulls you up, so you elevate through your spinal column, at the same time feeling all four corners of your feet. Now let's just play around with our ujjayi breath, with inhalation and exhalation for just 3 breaths. At the same time, feel your breath through your body, whatever that means to you. So we inhale. Exhale. And continue. Just gain the awareness. Feel rooted to the mat and to the ground. Continue with your ujjayi breath just for a little longer, and I want you to feel all the corners of your feet, the toes, the heels, the outside and the inside. Raise the kneecaps just a little. Imagine lifting up from the pelvis, allowing the shoulders to be away from the ears. And let's just raise the corners of our mouth with a little smile. And we're ready to start to engage in our asana practice. So we're going to start by root to rise. So with a gentle bend of the knees, taking the hands down. And we've got great big wings and bringing them up above your head to a point above your head here. And then we're going to forward fold from the hips with your fingers outstretched. And wherever that takes you, so it might be to here, it might be to here, it might be fingertips to the floor. Allow the head to drop. Imagine here you are bending from the hips, not necessarily through the waist. Gently bend the knees and come up again with an inhale. And let's do 2 more. Exhale. Inhale to come up. Exhale. And from here, take your hand under each elbow, and while you're here, a generous bend of the knees, and think about taking your rib cage, if you like, to the top of your thighs. Let the head drop here and just allow for some sway, and take your breath into the movement. Let the hands drop to the mat. Now feel a little bit towards the back of your heels here. Keep the knees bent. Come up with straight arms into your chair pose. Now take your breath. Hold it for another breath. And exhale, come back to the mat and step back now with your right foot. Back of the mat, lower your knee, untuck your toe. Now come up onto your fingertips here. Feel that stretch between the thighs, and I really want you to feel the front foot on the mat and the length of your shin on the mat with your back leg. And imagine you're kind of pulling the mat apart. This will give you stability. When you're ready, with an inhale with your ujjayi breath, coming up. Really lovely big stretch up to the sky. And as you come down, bring your hands together and your elbow to your thigh for a gentle twist as you exhale. Just hold this for a minute here. Remember to push into that front foot and the back of your shin and press the palms together to give you stability. Okay, taking hands to the front of the mat. Here you're going to tuck the toe, lift and come forward to the front of your mat. Root to rise, inhale. Exhale to the mat. step back this time with your left leg. Lower the knee, up onto your fingertips here. Think about broadening the shoulders. Feel into the right foot and to your left shin. And then, being aware of your breath, we're coming up with a lovely inhale. Stretching up, stretching up, stretching up. And exhale. Hands together, left elbow to right thigh, and a gentle twist. Push your palms together to have stability, and release to the front of the mat. Tuck the toe, and coming back up to the front of your mat. Root to rise, inhale. And hands to Anjali Mudra to the heart. Now just take some quiet breaths to yourself here. We're going to continue with our asana practice and try to take our breath with us. Don't worry, I'm talking so it's more difficult for me to take the breath to it so you can hear it. But it's not about being perfect, right? So it's about trying to connect, trying to get these things to come together. Life's not perfect. And actually one of the biggest issues we have is chasing perfection. Because when we're doing that, it often creates procrastination and it often creates a feeling of failure because perfection is generally not possible. So we're just doing the best we can in this practice and we're feeling our way through it. So again, root to rise, inhale. Coming up, turn the hands, forward fold, Uttanasana to the mat. Taking the right leg back again, lower the knee, untuck the toe. When you're ready, coming up with an inhale. And this time, exhale, take the hands behind and pull back and down. So you're opening the shoulders, opening the chest, and coming back to frame your left foot. Now we're going to lift this left leg and we're going to take your hand to the inside of your foot. So we're in a kind of stable lizard here. So belly button a bit towards the spine. Don't let yourself drop down here. And just feel what this feels like through your hips. Have a little bit of movement. There's nothing wrong with movement. It's much better than being static. And actually it's very difficult to really let go and breathe into your body when you're holding your body. Now, if it feels like it's available to you and you may have practiced this before, you can now come down to your elbows, into your lizard. Keep your gaze towards your hands. Mine are pointing in prayer here, elbows to the floor, but it's perfectly fine to stay here. That's not a problem. Take the hand again to the outside of the foot, and now we're going to come back up. A little bit of movement here is really helpful to get to the front of the mat. And root to rise, inhale, exhale, come forward, Uttanasana. And now you're going to step back with the left leg. Drop the knee, inhale, exhale, swing the hands behind. Pull back and down, open the chest, lift the chin, hands to the front of the mat again. Lift this left toe, put the hand to the inside of your right foot and just play around here a little bit. What does this feel like? It's asking quite a bit of the hips. Keep your belly button a little bit towards your spine. So what I mean is don't kind of drop down here. Give yourself support through your body. Again, if it's available to you, you can come down here onto the elbows. Take your breath into your asana. Come up if you're not already up. Frame your foot again with your hand. And then a little bit of movement. Take yourself back to the front of your mat this time. Weight into the heels. Bended knee, come up into your chair. Think about broad shoulders. Look between the hands and up a little. And when you're ready, coming straight up. Let the hands drop down to your sides. And relax a little here. We're going to come now to the mat on our backs. We're going to start with a little bit of what we call wipers, which is just allowing our knees to drop to the left and to the right, but we've got some support here and our chest is open. Now, you need to play around with how close you bring your feet to your bottom, what feels comfortable here. And we're staying upright out of our hands. So the feet are just a little bit wider than you would normally have them, so widen your hips. And take a lovely inhale. Exhale, drop the knees to the right. Inhale to come up. Exhale, drop to the left. Let's keep this going. Slow it down. Last one. Now you might have discovered that your bottom has got closer to your heels. That's normal, you're not doing anything wrong here. Now, for those of you that like a little bit of core, so working this bit here, this is quite a nice place to go into your boat pose or half boat pose. So if you're in a full boat pose, you have a straight leg, but we're not going to go into that. We're going to, from here, find your balance on your seat bones. And this again is like that, why does this yoga stuff work for us? Well, how often do you have to think about, can I feel my seat bones? It's not happening when I'm working in the counselling practice. I'm feeling my seat bones, and is it level? Have I got the same weight in the right one as the left one? And what happens now if I bring my belly button to my spine a bit, but I also lift my chest? There's a difference between this and this. Now keep the chest lifted and take your hands to the back of your thighs. And now let's see if you can raise your feet so that you're here. Now that may be enough. You know, core, it's easier the more you do it, but you know, it's not everybody's favourite. This might be enough for you, and then you can just play with the, oh, can I let my hands go? And or do I do this when it happens? Or can I actually keep the shoulders broad, lift the chest, and take the hands away? And from here, you may come to this position. Now let's take a big inhale. Feel it through your body, exhale. Another one. Hands back to the thighs, gently let your feet drop to the floor. Okay, if you found that quite an interesting asana to be in, if it's the first time you've done it, then actually great, explore it, play around with it, okay? It's okay to play around with these asanas. What we're doing here, unless there's some reason why you shouldn't be doing yoga, is not going to do you any harm. But again, anything that feels uncomfortable, back off of it. Being sensible, being mindful in your body is huge and important. Okay, let's come to a wide leg position. Mindful of the time ticking on, and I know that I'd quite like to carry on for a longer yoga session, but YouTube has told me that shorter yoga sessions are things that people want. They tend to explore those. It's a shame, I tell you why it's a shame, because it's probably because we're time poor, and we shouldn't be, because we're time poor for ourselves. And again, I want you to think about, what do you want in your life? What do you want it to look like? And most of us don't have enough stuff for us. So maybe the first thing you do is to spend more time on your mat. So, wide legs. What are the toes doing? Let's bring them a little bit towards our body. And what happens? You can feel down the back of your leg how that affects all your muscles and tendons. And if you leave your feet relaxed, you don't feel it. Let's bring the toes towards us. Bring them a bit more. Can you feel now tone? Where are you feeling it? Here, here, here. Maybe that's enough and that's all that you do. You start to feel, this is somatic, your body. What does it feel like? Get in touch with it, okay? This is what partly we're here for, not to be kind of yoga performance, but really feeling and being in touch with that, because then we can connect our thoughts and our behaviours to it. But if we're disconnected, we can't. Now I want you to just slide your hands towards your toes. Now there's going to be a tendency here to fold in your spine. What I want you to think about is folding from your hip. Now there's obviously going to be some fold in the spine. That's what its job is. But instead of folding from the middle, think about folding from the hip. So here, just sliding and just feel, can you feel that in your hip as you come forward here? You lift your, keep your chest up a little bit, and you start to feel it through this hip. So we've now got, we're feeling through our legs, and as we're stretching forward, we're feeling our hips. Now just relax the legs again. Put your hands in front of you and explore what it's like as you come forward. You might only get to here before it feels pinchy in the hips. Then that's as far as you go, right? You don't go any further. It might be that you can come much further forward. But the aim is not for more. The aim in this practice is to feel and connect. And actually, when you warmed up, you can go a little further. And if you have a very established practice, you will be able to stretch right out and drop your forehead to the floor. We're not here to do that today. Now I want you to bring your feet together. Okay, Supta Baddha Konasana. We're going to lie down and bring our feet into this position on our mats. So have a little swivel around. Gently lower yourself. And keep the soles of your feet touching. Now just tap your big toes on each other. What does that feel like? We're putting our hands between our belly button and kind of the bottom of our ribs. So we're just gently keeping our hands here. And you're just tapping a little bit with those toes. Now can you feel again in your hips here what it's like to try and let go? So what I want you to do now is take 3 really mindful breaths in your Ujjayi breath. And every time you breathe in, I want you to imagine you're breathing down through your lungs, through your pelvis, into your hips, along your thighs and out of your knees. Sounds crazy? Let's give it a go. So let's start an Ujjayi inhale. Exhale. Can you feel your back lowering to the floor as you exhale? Inhale. go of the hips. Now I would love to stay here and do another 10 breaths, 15 breaths, but I'm mindful of the time. But can you feel your back on the mat? Now if you kind of tip your tailbone up, can you feel how your pelvis is much more connection with the mat? And then if you allow your tailbone to kind of relax again, you get a little hollowing in your back. No particular reason why I'm pointing this out, apart from I want you to feel what your body's doing. Okay, let's bring the knees together, and we're going to take our hands to our knees, and we're just going to roll. It's a little bit of a booty massage, a little bit left, right. Again, feeling, now you can really feel as you bring the knees up, the connection with your lower back to the mat. Now, I want you to release your left hand and let your left leg stretch out in front of you. And then, if it's possible, can you take hold of your right leg in your right foot in your hand here? So you've got half a happy baby. Now, if it's not possible to do that, can you get your hand on your thigh and do this? And again, breathe and feel. What does it feel like when you kind of move your thigh back towards you a little bit? What does it feel like when you take your knee a little bit to the outside or to the inside? What does it feel like? Does it feel like when you take your left toes towards your forehead? What does it feel like when you let them go? Now, is it possible to get hold of your toe? And what does that feel like? Keep a little bend in the knee, it's much better for your joints. And relax the leg, and let's swap, let's come to the other side. So right leg goes long. Can you take hold of your outside of your foot in the other hand? And what does it feel like in half this happy baby? Does it feel like in this hip joint? Now take your breath to it. Can you transfer to the toe? Straighten the leg a little. Or you might be here and gently release that foot to the floor. And very, very carefully come onto the left side, and with your right hand push yourself back up on the mat. Okay, so a little bit of a flavour of getting into our bodies here and exploring with our breath and exploring what it feels like to move our body on our yoga mat. So maybe you'll join me for another session to follow on from this one on my mat yoga, and I look forward to seeing you there. And don't forget the question at the beginning of this practice. And if you can't remember what it is, go back and have a look. See you again soon. Bye.